Hello, I'm the Badger Reborn, and today's video is something special. I recently participated in a group podcast session hosted by the Black Tower podcast. It also had guests the Gleemen and the Way of the Leaf. The Black Tower pod set it all up and got us together for several hours of fantastic Wheel of Time discussion and arguments. We went through our favorite unpopular opinions regarding characters, themes, or the TV show, and debated the merits of the topic. We split the episode into 2 parts, and I further split it in half again, so I'll release it in 4 parts. They're still long, but I love creating it, and I think you'll enjoy listening. I had a blast debating with these guys, and I've put a link to each of their groups' information in the video discussion below. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and at the end of the video, check these other guys out as well, and subscribe to their platforms, YouTube or podcasts. They each bring something really special and unique to the table. The Gleeman has really intellectual, kind of deep dive takes, whether it's longer or sometimes just kind of bite-sized discussions into different various Wheel of Time topics. The Way of the Leaf is really quite funny. They do the puppets each time, and it's a discussion, sometimes spoiler, sometimes non-spoiler, of the Wheel of Time books. The Black Tower podcast has been going on for a long time, and as you can probably tell from these videos, they go really deep dives into the books with a lot of kind of philosophical takes, looking deeply at characters or themes and that kind of thing. They're all fantastic, so check them all out. I hope you enjoy the first quarter of this fun discussion, starting now.
Hello, everyone! Hello, everyone,
Janice,
and
call
welcome to a super exciting and special episode of a number of different podcasts. This is a very special collaboration episode that we have going on with a number of our good friends. I, myself, and my compatriots, I am Daniel from the Black Tower podcast, and I will let my other 2 gentlemen friends introduce themselves as well, also from the Black Tower podcast.
I am Andrew. If you didn't already know that, I might look a little different, may not recognize me, but if you were there for the Cyber Smile podcast-a-thon 24-hour stream that Twatcast did, as I'm pretty sure everybody was, and if you weren't, you were wrong. Yeah, you know
Just
what happened. But as Daniel has already said like 5 times, I am also from the Black Tower podcast.
Oh, hi. I'm Josh. You may recognize me from such podcasts as the Black Tower podcast.
And that's it. And today, as stated, we are doing a wonderful, amazing collaboration with some other people. So you're going to see that there are many people around this screen right now doing things.
Well, not right now.
They're all being very respectful and quiet, but they will be here in just a moment. But before we get to that, because it is very important that while people are introducing themselves, some of us have spoilers in our names. So we're going to have to slap on some protection and make 100% sure that everyone's cool and protected. Because that's how we do things here at the Black Tower. Wrap it before you intro it.
That's a great catch. Great catch.
That's wow.
I like
I will say this:
to live by.
If you're listening and/or watching at this particular moment in time, firstly, I commend you. You've made a very good life choice. Now,
My hair's
I wish
off to you.
for you to, I wish for you to evaluate this decision carefully, because if you've read the full series of the Wheel of Time, please proceed at your own leisure. However, if you've not completed the series, the full series, which may or may not include a new spring, it is part of the series, it is important, but I don't think we're going to be diving into that much. However, the warning will go throughout the entire bulk of the series. There will be some spoilers. Now, there may be some spoilers from book 1, there may be some spoilers from book 14, so just take this as if it were schmear over your bagel. You cover the entire bagel, and we are covering the entire series. You have been
Because this is an everything bagel with a full layer of schmear.
Yeah, the best schmear. But
Andrew,
like Daniel said,
please introduce our cohorts, compatriots, companions, and friends?
yes, I can. So, we have guests from 3 distinct platforms, but we don't just have 3 guests. We actually have 5.
Because we go big or go home.
8 of us on this episode. And You're about to see their faces. I guess right about now. So,
right about now,
to start off these
the fun
introductions,
show, brothers.
you might have seen them on the Twatcast,
Your use of
Twatcast
sight,
podcast-a-thon. You might have also seen some of their expertly crafted political ads for mayor for Amon's Field. But it is the way of the Leafs. Ryan and Dan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Yes, this is Ryan. I am Ryan's brother Dan, and we are the Way of the Leaf. We do a YouTube channel and podcast that is a show based on a reread of The Wheel of Time. We are mostly spoiler free. We have a first time reader that joins us every episode, and we kind of talk through our chapters. And then we have a segment afterwards called Tavern Talk, where lips are loose and rumors fly like storks at Beltane.
Oh,
Wow! So, and we're two gorgeous puppets, and that's about it, I think.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah,
I like it.
we're regularly live streaming our first time reader chats. The live streams are getting pretty out of hand. They're fun.
We are organized chaos. Well, but take away the organized.
yes.
No, and this is great. And if we don't scare everyone away, we can imagine everyone we're on this screen is going to be on our show at some point because we're going to be having guests soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
At some point in time, I feel like we're going to need to see if puppets can channel. I'm just saying.
Do you have the
wave.
spark?
Is this a situation where it's like the Force or magic in Doctor Strange, where you only think you can't channel if you don't have hands,
I'm
but
actually
you can actually channel?
I'm pretty confident that puppets themselves can be an angrial.
Yeah.
Which one
I'm happy
of
with
you is
this.
the little fat man with the sword?
This is already offensive.
Yeah, cyberbullying,
What is
cyberbullying.
happening? You ask us on your show. I'm working on the belly, all right? I'm working on it.
Oh my god, you guys are awesome.
right.
Thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here.
thanks for having us on.
Thank
You guys are great.
So our,
Welcome,
we'll be here all
welcome.
week.
The
We'll
way
be here
of
all
the
week.
our next guest, see him right over here, because I can actually point straight to him. But if you don't recognize the face, you should think back, and you can recognize him from his outstanding debut appearance on the Village Green in Amon's Field, where he was his co-star, some guy named Matt Matram, some minor person that nobody cares about, was
A tertiary
escorting him.
character, really.
But it is, of course, the Badger Reborn with his amazing YouTube videos, and he is here. Go ahead and say hi.
Yay.
Hello, yes, I'm the Badger Reborn and loose today on the green as the Reborn variety. Yeah, so I'm not a podcaster normally. This is actually the first time I've done any type of podcasting whatsoever, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm super excited to be here with all of you guys.
Nice.
We're excited to have you.
What kind of stuff do you deal with in your YouTube videos?
Yeah, Wheel of Time of kind of random variety of book or show things that I'm talking about. And like I said, I haven't really done any collaborations, but I'm looking forward to doing more of those as well.
Nice.
And you have a Patreon, right?
I do have a Patreon, yeah. So if you got some money to burn and
We
you'd
would
like to
really
support me,
like to give you our money.
I'll take it.
There you go.
Since when do badgers use money?
This is the Badger Reborn. He's set
I
apart
can't-
from all
Well,
other
yeah.
badgers.
That
I
makes
can't wait
sense.
to get the official story, though, from the man himself.
My human skin somehow.
I'm sorry, did you just introduce the existence of badger people to compete with the lizard people?
I was thinking of
Why?
onesies. You know how people
The
wear
elephant-
like animal onesies?
Eelfin and the Badge Fin?
It's now canon.
I
Yeah.
was thinking he was a badger wearing a human styled onesie.
Or is that just the ale badge and the eel badge? They're just the alefin and the eelfin, but they're badgers.
Work.
Badger.
Or I'm actually picturing Mario when he would wear that raccoon thing.
Tanuki!
Yes.
Oh yeah, from Mario
But a
3.
badger.
Yes.
But a badger.
But a
Classic.
badger.
Okay.
I like it.
Thank
But-
you so much
And
for being
last but
here.
not least,
Our last, yeah, I was literally about to say that exact phrase. But
I'm
These
in your
lovely-
brain.
lovely gentlemen down here, Vance and
You
Drew,
don't
are
have nearly
Gleemen.
enough shielding on your brain anymore. I can get in there too easy.
Spirit wards. I'm telling you, Andrew.
Again, I'll take care of you in October.
Yeah, that's what
That
she
sounded weird. That's not what I meant.
That's what she said.
But anyway, we have our very own Gleeman here, Vance and Drew. Tell the people what they want to hear.
Yay, Gleeman!
Drew, you want to take it or should I
Gleeman!
take it?
A badger
Gleeman?
and
Do we
a
have-
Gleeman!
Do we have
I'm all-
fireworks too?
Plural.
Wait, we've got a badger on the green. We've got
Eat-
2 Gleemen.
Eat
This
fire!
is gonna be the best winter night ever.
I want to see eat fire.
You know, I feel like that's what people said about. Sorry, not to take away from the intro here. I feel
Does
like that's
this
what
make
people said
Josh
about
narg?
2020. This is gonna
Yeah.
be the best year
Yes.
ever, and it was winter night.
Here we go. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
All right,
It's
go
just
Gleeman.
all of those memes about like what I thought 2020 was gonna be and what 2020 actually was. It's just a Gleeman, fireworks, and good stuff, and then it's just Trollocs.
Just
Coming in your
Trollocs.
door.
Just Trollocs.
A
Kicking
burnt
your
down
door
Beltane pole. Yeah.
All right, Vance and Drew, go ahead.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Vance from the Gleemen, a YouTube channel where Drew, my buddy Drew, and I discuss the Wheel of Time. We have a weekly Wednesday long-form video we do where it's both of us talking, kind of podcast style. We try to keep it under an hour. And then we've just recently debuted shorter videos that I like to call WoT Quickies. And they're coming out on Monday and Friday to kind of fill in the week in between. So I hope everyone looks forward to those. Drew, do you have anything to add?
I don't think
No?
so.
You
Yeah,
good?
I'm Drew, and I can proudly say I pulled Vance forward through the 14 books of the Wheel of Time. So that's my life accomplishment.
Well
It only took him
nice.
13 years.
It only took what, Vance?
It only took you 13 years.
That's one
So-
per book.
When did you finally
Just
let
about.
Vance out of the basement?
Keep thinking, Daniel.
All right. Well, you guys have kind of seen something like this before. Well, not seen, you've heard it, because we've done a YouTuber panel before audio only. But this one
True.
is including video. And if you can't find video
Wait, we're on screen right now.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I hope you got camera ready.
I didn't. I definitely didn't. I actually shaved last night. I don't know if you. know.
You all shaved recently.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it comes together.
Wrong,
very well.
wrong location. Wrong location,
Yeah.
Andrew.
How did you know about that?
You just got yourself the lawnmower too, didn't you?
So
For your
it
man.
looks like
Computers.
Has,
Thank you,
has
Manscaped,
someone
for
been ordering
not
from
actually sponsoring
Manscaping?
this.
Save your junk.
But if
But
you'd
anyway.
like to sponsor it,
Okay. I got a whole dome to shave now,
I can
so.
guarantee Manscaping. If you want to sponsor us, I will do a video
no. Whoa.
Wow. Whoa.
of me using your product on my face. Calm down. How about you?
Face. Okay.
Our viewership can't handle that, okay?
I can't really
That's
speak for
a little
Ryan,
much.
but we use lint rollers.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds like it's painful.
Manscaped,
Oh, no.
there's your next audience right there.
Right there.
It's like a
the
cat's
puppet
tongue.
crowd.
Whoa.
The puppet crowd.
All right, I'm sorry.
That might have been the line from the night.
Anyway,
These lint rollers. It's
you've seen this kind of thing before. We've got 8 people on. We have to structure it. There's no way that even the 3 of us by ourselves, normally from the Black Tower, can keep things in an orderly fashion. But we have to here because everybody's time is valuable. And if we're perfectly honest, we are far behind time already. So let's get into the content.
Hey, Andrew, I'm Joe from the Twatcast. Guess how much Wheel of Time you've talked about tonight?
None.
0 minutes.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a round robin style-esque panel where each person is going to say their piece about the overarching topic, which hopefully isn't my inability to say English. And then after that, we'll take about 10 minutes as a group to talk about their topic. Our our reactions to it, our thoughts on it, that kind of stuff. It's at that point that you might see your boy Andrew get a little more interrupty, because I am kind of functioning a bit as the moderator for this, and I do need to try to keep us on time and on schedule for the collective benefit of all of us. But I'm going to try to be as nice as I possibly can about it.
The
and
greater good.
I don't foresee it being a serious issue. But with that, you need to know what the panel's about. We're going to let Daniel, this guy right here, introduce the topic.
So the topic for tonight is effectively unpopular opinions. That's going to be our topic for the evening. It's sort of everyone's takes on why some things are unpopular, what their favorite unpopular opinions are, ones that they think shouldn't be unpopular opinions, but are on the likes of Twitter or Instagram or wherever you like. Basically, it's very free, but again, the overall topic is going to be unpopular opinions in Wheel of Time, and maybe a little bit of why.
Yeah. And so we're going to kick this off and put the puppet himself on the spotlight. Ryan, I hear you have an unpopular opinion, at least one that you would be willing to discuss.
Ooh.
I love the caveat. Thank you for the caveat. I do agree. Hey, guys. I appreciate being asked to go first. I see that as a badge of honor. A badger of honor.
Badger Reborn honor.
All right, so my popular opinion, you might have heard, I've been pushing this out basically every time I get in front of a camera. But
are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, I'm going. Dark Friends. I want the Amazon show to remove the name Dark Friends and change it. Dark Friends is like the silliest name for a bad guy I've ever heard. I read a sentence. I was going through and I heard, I was listening to the Audible book, and he goes, there were Trollocs and Myrddraal and Dark Friends, and it just killed it for me. If they come up with something cooler, I'd be very happy. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Bring it.
Nice.
All right. So, Josh, what do you think?
Oh God, so at first I wanted to hate it. I wanted to be like, bro, they're Dark Friends. Come on. But then you said there were Trollocs and Myrddraal and Dark Friends. And I'm immediately going, oh shit, that is kind of lame. So, I mean, if this were a change my mind segment, I'm right there. I'm teetering on the edge. I think, what else are you going to call them, though? That's where my counterpoint would be. You would have to come up with something better to call them. At the moment, they're friends of the shadow. Shadows are dark.
I feel like you literally already came up with a better name.
Yes.
In your response.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Anything is better. Anything is better. Compatriots of the shadow. Dark vision. Dark
interns.
Anything. Just anything.
Dark interns.
Shadow knots.
What do you think, Vance?
All right, so I'm in agreement. I mean, I think it works fine for the book. I'd have no issues with it in the context of the book. But just like Ryan was saying, I went through the audiobooks as I finished the series. And yeah, Dark Friends kind of kills the mood when it comes up after Trollocs, Myrddraal, Dragcar, Dreadlord, anything. So I'm actually in agreement with this unpopular opinion. I think it's a little hokey. It could be one of those things that make the show seem campy if they stick to it. One of my favorites that I kind of came up with was the shadow cast. So think of it like casting actors in a play, right? So just call them the shadow cast, as people who cast themselves into shadow.
Someone
That's
just got their new podcast name.
Right?
Boom. Someone did, yeah.
Oh God, no, for real. That would be a badass
The shadow
podcast.
cast Gleemen.
Yeah, but no one will be able to find it.
Hey!
Oh.
No, they just have to go to the dark web.
Oh.
It's pun
Can I
time
just
already.
say, you all are my favorite people, but I hate you so much right now.
So yeah, For the sake of time, since I'm in agreement, let's just move on to the next panelist.
All right, Badger, it's your turn.
Yeah, I gotta disagree with you guys.
There it is.
Yeah!
This is
Badger.
why we do panels.
I think it's pretty strong. You gotta think about the Dark Friends go to socials together. They're pals. they hang out. And you guys are gonna think the risk if they change the name. There's a maybe 50% chance it's better, but there's also the 50% chance they change it to something worse. So what if they change it to like I'd submit Dark Pals?
Dark Pals.
The children's spin-off show.
Yeah, so I think keeping it with like a solid option that doesn't normally get criticism, and incorporates their pal aspect.
Well, that is
in books or in real life?
Both.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess I'm up next. Not I guess, I know. But, I mean, I'm kind of like... So the part of me that wants them to stay as true to the books as possible says, no, don't change it. But much like Josh, when you were like, there were Trollocs and Myrddraal and Dark Friends, it's like...
Oh my.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly stupid. Like, yeah. So, I mean, I can't think of an alternate name for them. I mean... Yeah, I never tried to. I never really thought about it. It's just they were Dark Friends. So, like, I guess if I had to make the decision at the end of the day, because society really likes cool names, I would say for the TV show to change it, but maybe work the name change into the series somehow where somebody cognizantly is like, this just sounds dumb and campy. Let's change it. Let's rebrand.
Ah, yes. Do you remember the old days when we used to call them Dark Friends? Quaint time.
And the
Now
age of
we call
legend.
them
I
the
could see-
Shadow Cast because it's
Now they're
better.
pals.
Now they're pals.
Now
I
we
can
call
even see,
them
like,
now we call them
Grandpa,
Neopets for some reason.
nobody's called them Dark Friends for 30 years, Grandpa. Like, get with the times, okay? Not
Okay, what about-
not ADD.
Okay, boomer. Dark Friends has been offensive for years.
Yeah, get a new haircut and all of a sudden a new attitude.
I think one of the names for the Gleemen is Shadow Soul. What about that for Dark Friends?
Was it?
What?
Shadow Souled.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, the IEL call them the Shadow Soul, don't they?
I thought
think
that
it's
was
the name
They
of
refer to
Gleemen.
them as they're not forsaken.
I feel like there's a lot
That's
of different
right, yeah,
ways they're called.
It's used for
Off
something.
the top of my head, because I'm a puppet, I can't remember, but I feel like they've referenced different names, and they're way cooler than Dark
Yeah.
Friends. So I just say pick one of them. Any one in the book will be better.
Yeah, just like
Fair.
the Dark Companions or something like
Lan
that.
has some of the coolest names. He names everything the coolest way. Like just pick an Lannerism and go with it.
There you go.
a
That is true.
Lanarism?
Lannerism.
A
yeah.
Lannerism.
But speaking of somebody with 3 letters in their first name, the next to get to talk is Dan.
You mean Don?
Dog.
On.
The dish soap.
Wait, Don, is your last name Almandragora?
Oh my gosh, I thought we weren't doing this right now.
God, you just outed him on
I didn't
stage,
mean
dude.
Way to dox, bro.
Third cousin to the second sister to the last
Here.
child of the last king.
I'm gonna just bail fire the last 5 seconds.
Cool, we're good.
So I think I come up with a solution, gentlemen. So I too disagree with Dark Friend being a spooky name. But we have with Myrddraal, we have Half Man, we have Fade, we have the Eyeless, we have all kinds of cool nicknames. Even for the Dark One, we have Shepherd of the Night, Father of Lies, these things. But with our main bad guys, we have Trollocs, Myrddraal, Drakkar. These are all old tongue names. And so what I think that we should do is have an old tongue name that sounds guttural and aggressive. It's like, oh yeah, these are Thoclales. They're Dark Friends or whatever. And then we just refer to them as a sinister name instead of like a dark friend. Hey.
Well,
Yeah, guys,
do you
there
know
were
that
Trollocs and Myrddraal and
Dark Friend does actually have an old tongue translation.
So yeah, we should use that then.
What is it?
Afa on Shadar.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Are you looking it up?
I
That's
did
not-
look it up.
That would be
Josh
people
is a
of the
huge
dark,
nerd.
or people of the shadow.
Yeah.
Well, that
How
sounds
dare you
way
look
cooler.
educated
That
in
sounds
front of us.
way
I mean, that
cooler.
even People of the Shadow sounds way cooler.
Well, and that even gives like so Shadar Haran. Shadow Haran. What's Haran?
Pal.
Hand of the
Now you've taken all of the bite out of Shadar Haran.
I'm sorry.
Are you kidding
posing.
me? Are you kidding me? Josh, I wanna throw this out there. Which one's scarier? An 8-foot tall Murdral who can use the true power, whose name is Shaidar Haran. Or an 8-foot tall Murdral who can use the true power, whose name is Shadow Pal. I'm pretty sure I'm more scared of Shadow Pal.
The name's
I don't know what
Pal.
his intentions are.
Just
He's
introduces
so-
himself like
Exactly,
James
I'm
Bond.
so
Clear.
confused.
Shadow Pal.
He just introduces himself
not
like
sh-
James Bond. The name's Pal. Shadow Pal.
So I'm on board. I'm on board with changing the Dark Friend moniker to something way more badass.
God, I found my
Fair.
people. This is great.
So Daniel, now is actually your turn.
Excuse me, it's Daniel.
Oh,
I'm
Daniel.
sorry, I had to do it one more time. It's over now.
And
It's the
it's
rule of three,
Badger.
guys. Rule of three. But actually, on topic, I totally agree with you in terms of the fact that, again, Dark Friend sounds a little trite next to a lot of the different other names. But I will actually throw out there that, to me, that gives it more character. And by character, I don't mean like it makes it cutesy, it makes it whatever, but the in the Age of Legends and whatnot was when they went ahead and gave all of these things names. Or, in my humble opinion, I'm pretty sure who actually gave them their names was Agenor, as he was making them. He was like, I get to name this bitch because I made it. And so he gave them cool names. But just like when you give them the opportunity to name things in real life, people come up with stupid names for things. Like Bodie McBoatface, or David Plowy, or things like that. And so I am not surprised. That's what actually stuck, and that to me is really realistic. And it's, again, one of the reasons that I don't necessarily think that Robert Jordan intended for that to be true. And I do feel like I am giving it a little bit of a justification, but at the same time, if real world experience lends itself to book, thought process and whatnot, there is no way humans on any kind of grand scale would actually give Dark Friends a good name. It would absolutely be shit every time.
That's a valid
Well
point.
said.
Because remember, guys, a person is smart. People are stupid.
So what does that make us?
Puppets?
There are 8 of us, and we're all on
you're the middle
individual
ground.
screens. So it's 8 smart
I
people.
think he specifically refers to puppet kind now.
Doing stupid things.
We're transcendent.
Correct.
All right. Well, Drew, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so my knee-jerk reaction is that I've never wanted to punch a puppet before.
Oh.
No. Okay, so you almost convinced me. Like I was right there with you
Shock and awe.
until Daniel talked, and I hate to agree with him, but
The first time I've ever heard that.
people make
It's the first time that's ever happened. I don't even know how to deal with this right now.
Daniel
make
changed their
terrible-
mind,
Daniel's
guys.
like loyal, speaking at the great stump for the first
yeah,
time.
exactly.
Daniel can't change his own mind.
Hasty humans always giving things stupid names.
Well, go ahead, Drew.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh
Hey,
no!
Of
That's
all
a
the
good
ways
picture.
to freeze, though. Wow, look at that. What a handsome
Look
guy.
at that.
He is
Yeah,
handsome.
God.
Look
Well,
at
I
him.
mean, if you go against me, that's what happens.
Oh,
The pattern just rips you away.
He used the power to DDoS Drew.
No,
We're
okay.
back.
There you go. You're
Oh,
back.
Drew's back.
all right,
Drew's
he's back. He's back.
So So my
You
take
back?
on this is I disagree with Daniel. I disagree with why Daniel is right. But people tend to euphemize things. You know, the human instinct is to make something more comfortable. And most of the shadow spawn are monsters that no one short of the Borderlands really see in their lifetime. You know, so their names are not common parlance for at least 1,500 years. I mean, how long ago was the Trolloc Wars? So since the Trolloc Wars, most of the Westlands haven't dealt with shadow spawn, so they have no reason to make up new names. But one of the quirks of linguistics is that the most annoyingly irregular parts are the most common parts of language, because everybody's got a great way to say he, you know, and so you have 15 different ways to say the most common things. And so I think Dark Friends, the people who, the most common part of the shadow people will encounter, that's definitely going to have the lamest and most comfortable name, because who wants to call something a horrifying name and scare themselves more? You know, they're gonna put some soft cuddlies around a scary concept.
Well, and as we learned from,
I think that's
like,
fair.
I
Harry
actually really
Potter-
like that because there's
Yeah.
an additional thing there of like, if you have to fight a dark friend, you want it to be less scary.
Oh yeah.
You don't give a shit about a Trolloc. It doesn't matter. It's never coming into your zeitgeist. Therefore, don't worry about it. It can be as scary as you want to make it in your head. Scare
Right.
your children with it. But like
Exactly.
literally, Drew is a magician with words. That was fantastic. And he said all of the things that I wanted to say, just smarter and better and with good language.
All right.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So let's do this.
Well done. Well done.
Let's take a show of hands. Put your hand up where we can see it. If
Wait,
you...
can I throw one more thing in?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
If we change the name, I just want them called Shadowed.
Shadowed. That's great.
I like that. The shadowed.
Before we vote, I just want to point out I actually think Drew said the opposite of Daniel. Daniel said Agenor named him, and then Drew said it was a folkloric kind of alteration of the name over time.
Well, Daniel was talking
Right.
about Agenor naming the Trollocs and the Murdrall and the Jakar, and the
Correct.
things he actually created.
Yeah,
So
I have
that's
to.
why they have cool, like the cool names.
no,
But not the dark
My
friends.
bad.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
No,
No,
yeah,
you're
he
dark.
was hanging out with his
but you
black
think
metal
it's kind
buddies.
of like the common
Yeah.
name that just kind of developed over time by
Yes.
the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I misheard that.
Colloquialism.
My bad. Let's take that
The
out. I misheard that.
colloquialism.
As opposed to Agenor sitting around with his black metal buddies naming bands.
Yeah, exactly. You
Agenor
and
clearly
let's be
loved
honest,
metal.
you know for a fact that Agenor was sitting there after he made these absolutely failed experiments of Trollocs, and he was tired and he was done with everything, and he's just sitting in the blight, and he's just like near Shale Gul, and he's just like, guys, we need to come up with what we're gonna call these absolute like horrors that I've made. And he's talking to the other Forsaken back when they're still friends, and he's like, what do we call them? And you know for a fact, Asmodean comes up, and he goes, that one right there, that's Goaty McGoatface. And they all laugh.
All right. So let's get a visual representation of how we feel. So if you agree with Ryan and think that at least the name Dark Friends should be changed in the TV series, let's go ahead and throw up that hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drew, was that like a kind of?
Yeah, it's
like point two hands.
All right. And now if you disagree, go ahead. Just put that hand up. Think that they should keep Dark Friends in the series.
I still
Josh, that
respect
is a
you,
cop
Ryan.
out. That is a
I
cop
was
out.
really emotional. I really felt like I had momentum there, and that just right at the very end, it just the rug was pulled out.
Yeah. Me and
It's
Dan,
okay.
man.
I think
Don.
that was just the luck of the draw on how we ended up speaking. Don't worry, there will be other chances where you'll be that for someone else.
Yes.
And
With
for
their
everybody
unpopular.
that listens, if you're listening on YouTube and down in the comment section for everything that we talk about, definitely come out and be
Carousel.
like, hey, get rid of it, keep it, Why? Fight amongst yourself. The strong will survive and the others will perish. But, you know, it's war. It's a
Thunderdome,
YouTube
two
comment
men go
section.
in, one man comes out.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
And
Are
I
we
think Ryan,
providing the pool cues?
I think Ryan should be proud. It was an
I
unpopular
don't have
opinion,
enough of them, Drew.
Yeah.
but now it's 4-4. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's true. It was a split vote.
That it
Yeah.
was. That it was. Which was only
Well,
fair to be split because
I gave it 0.2, 0.8, so technically we did decide.
What is this?
Okay,
The
who
Romanian
was?
judge in gymnastics here?
All right. Well, bringing us our
I'm sorry,
next
Drew.
unpopular opinion is Josh. So, Josh, what is your unpopular opinion that you would like to discuss? Looks like you lost video again.
I was about to say, so my video may be frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
It
Yep,
is, but
and you
it's
look
a
great.
good. It's a good little video. You've got a nice little picture.
I
Okay.
can finally see the
Yeah.
Mountain Dew
As-
sign more than your face, which is good.
We
As
got
long-
a new thumbnail now.
As long as I'm represented well by my shit internet connection, I'm okay.
Your shin internet connection.
Hey!
Hey,
I'm
I'm
camera
so
like you
sorry.
can see me, but you can't see me, so. Enjoy my picture whilst I pontificate on my unpopular opinion. So my unpopular opinion goes as follows, and I say this with all the love in my heart. Elaine and Gawain are the same level of all like personality
Hey,
traits.
before he finishes that, can you just cut his audio too? Andrew?
Yeah, we'll cut it in post.
Don't-
We'll just cut it in
Don't
post.
finish. Don't
Ugh.
finish your thought here.
Okay, with Elaine and Gawain, every time I read portions of the story from their point of view, I have 2 thoughts. One is, oh, I really just want to like be okay with you. I really just want to be able to give you the benefit of the doubt here. And that's one feeling. The other feeling is oh my God, shut up. You are so dumb. And Elaine is incredibly intelligent. She goes around and does all the stuff to get the queendom, and she becomes the queen of Andor, and everything's great. Sorry, spoilers, but like you didn't see it coming. Come on.
We gave the spoiler warning, so.
And then Gawain, but the thing is that she does some incredibly stupid things along the way, like some really dumb things along the way, and you're just like, you're torn between facepalm and oh come on, and it's the same with Gawain. The only difference between them is that Elaine is given more screen time, so you have more emotional connection with her than you do with Gawain. Other than that, same character.
All right. Vance, what say ye?
I'm in a little bit about a 50-50 split here. Like, I think they're similar because they're both spoiled royal brats, right?
Exactly.
Like, they have some entitlement to their character, but I think that's intentional. They're written that way to represent the fact that they're nobility.
Right.
They grew up relatively sheltered, and it's only within the last 2 years of their life that they're outside of their sheltered lifestyle. So I think it's easy to see that they each have these similar personality traits because that's just the way they are brought up. That said, I don't think I agree that they're the same character. I think Elaine is significantly smarter than Gawain, but I do also agree she makes some questionable choices. But I think that's more reflective of her immaturity than her intelligence. Same with Gawain, actually. I don't think Gawain's actually stupid. I think he makes every choice he makes out of this immature, young, toxic, masculine attitude that he has from all the stories he's read and from all of the perceptions he has of his male role models. That whether or not they actually do anything for him like that, if that makes any sense. So I don't think they're the same characters, but I do see how you can at least construct your argument that way. So,
All right. Badger, what do you think?
I think Vance is being too nice. They're definitely
Burn the Gleemen.
so I do think what Van said, that they have similar personality characteristics. That's definitely true. They have some similar personality characteristics because of the way they were raised. But I think there's one huge difference between them, which is that Elaine has purpose and Gawain does not have purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, Gawain has purpose at the beginning of the series. It starts off with just kind of knowing that he's going to be there for Elaine and be her protector for her whole life and be like the general of the Andorran armies. And then that completely goes away and is replaced by kind of wanting to be with Egwene, wanting to be with Elaine, not knowing what to do. Ultimately makes the wrong choice, in my opinion. But Elaine always is very purposeful. She knows she wants to become an Aes Sedai. She wants to come back to Andor and become the queen. And then she has, other purposes along the way. She wants to go find the Bowl of the Winds, etc. And she does all of those things. She goes on missions. She comes back to Andor. She unites everyone, becomes the queen. She leads the armies to the last battle. Meanwhile, Gawain's just kind of floundering the whole time. So I think while they start off similarly, Elaine really sticks to her purposes, and Gawain just loses his completely.
I do also like how you used the word purpose. And I think everyone here understood what you meant, and then you talked about it in that avenue. I just also liked how Gawain having no purpose just has another tangent off to the side here of he could just not be a character. Just he has no purpose. Just in the story. Just as a general human being. Like all of that I loved. I loved the extra little piece there.
Yeah.
I actually think Gawain does have a purpose in the story, which I said this in a video and someone said it was poetic, so I'm going to say it as often as I can. He has an uncompleted arc to his life, and I think that's very realistic. A lot of people have uncompleted arcs to their life.
I like that.
I could see it.
I think that is poetic. I agree with you.
I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, I would agree. That was it, right, Badger?
That was it. Yep.
Okay. I would agree that they're the same. They're pretty much the same character when you meet them, but you can understand the reason behind it. I'm a big proponent of the idea that if you read from page 1 of Eye of the World through the last page of A Memory of Light, including New Spring, and all you glean from the series is exactly what's written on the pages, even if you read cover to cover, including glossaries, which is how you find out certain people murdered certain people. I mean, then you're not going to get the entire story. I mean, a character has a backstory for a reason. It's supposed to help you understand why they are the way they are, what happened to them in the past, and you have to actually critically think about it, which a lot of people do, but there are plenty of people that don't. So you have these two kids that were born into the same family, into royalty, into the Andorran palace in Camelin, and they grow up very much in the same way. Because for Gawain to be an effective what's the title he has for his role with Elaine? Yeah. To be an appropriate first prince of the sword, he needs to know and expect, at least generally, what a queen is going to be doing, what a princess is going to be doing, or daughter heir rather, is going to be doing. So they're going to be in a lot of the same classes. They're going to learn a lot of the same things, and then he's going to have to go outside and play with his sword and make that the only thing he's ever good at in his entire life. So it makes sense for them to be the same because they're always around each other. They have the same upbringing, the same life. Everything's pretty much the same for them, so they're going to be relatively similar for the most part. But when they finally get separated from each other, they have vastly different experiences, and Elaine has the fortune to fall in with the better group of friends, the better group of compatriots, where Gawain doesn't. Gawain very, very early on finds himself in charge of a whole group of younger people that were at once going to train to be warders and now don't know if they're ever going to be warders, but they're still an armed faction used by the White Tower. Whereas Elaine is able to run, skip, and jump and ride any dragon she wants around the rest of the world. I mean, she goes through a lot. I mean, she's only evades capture once out of the many times she is captured, so she still gets that gauntlet to go through. But she just has a vastly different life experience. It forces her, I think, to mature at a much higher rate. Because for me, Gawain's entire interaction with Egwene is the creepy high schooler enamored interaction, and that kind of knee-jerk reaction of I don't think I'll give my life for you. Let me put on all these rings and die.
No, literally, actually give my life for you.
Yeah, which
Right
is the single best thing and only thing really of value that I think Gawain ever did in the entire series. Besides get the fuck away from Elaine. So I mean, yeah, I think they're the same up to a point. It's yeah, I don't want to rehash what I said. They just vastly different life experiences that to use part of what Badger has said allowed one person to achieve the vast majority of their character arc and the other one to not I'm going to tweak it a little bit to not really have an arc at all. So, I don't know. Dan, you're up next.
Well, so what I'm sensing is in the very beginning of the Eye of the World, the theme that we're seeing is shelter, is isolation, is this kind of almost little xenophobia. In so the two rivers, no strangers come there. They're a part of Andor, but they're not really a part of Andor. And then when we first meet the royal twins there, where do we find them? Behind the palace walls. They're not out in the city. They are in their own shelter. I truly think that if they stayed where they were, you are very right. They are the same person. They have this very same focus. You are here to protect me, and I am here to ascend, and that's what it is. Once they split out, I kind of see his arc as being really pretty tragic. He's part of a group called the Younglings per se, where they are this. I mean, there's not. We have Elaine who is like, no, I'm going to get my own throne. I'm going to get my own. Don't help me. I don't need your help, which is kind of weird. Um, uh, but we have this young man who is kind of trying to achieve his own potential the way that he knows it from behind those walls that we saw him. And so the actions that we see him do are these dramatic, drastic, heroic, I am the first prince of the sword, and this is what I must do. I am your warder, and this is what I must do. I must do everything because I am the noble guy, because this is where he was. And Elaine kind of takes the same route with her saying, no, you're not going to put me on the throne. I must get it myself. My twins, no, they're safe. I saw this vision. So there, or whatever, so there, we do have two stunted characters who are to a certain degree very, I would say, trying to break out of the mold in which they were shaped, but we don't see them until they're pretty much the same age as Rand. It's I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I see them as being equivalent. I see them as being raised pretty much the exact same way. I do see that once they split apart, there was this arc that Elaine was able to achieve that he was not, and based mostly on his own choices, I should say. But yeah, to me, his was the tragedy, while hers is kind of more the opposite of a tragedy per se.
Comedy? I don't think that's the opposite, but there you go. But go ahead. Is that it, Dan, or
say again?
Kind of hard to read.
is that it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Wait, no, dude, you're fine. Daniel, let's hear your thoughts.
So yeah, my thought is I'm actually going to throw out another unpopular opinion, not actually and not so that for discussion and whatnot, but I actually don't dislike Gawain nearly as much as a lot of people do. It is really fun to shit on Gawain. But I don't actually think that he deserves nearly as much as the community dumps on him. Because again, two things that Josh said, and that others have said already, that I think are very, very fair, is both of them came from the same place and have a really ridiculously close upbringing as far as what they were taught and where they were taught it. And that made them both really stubborn, really egotistical, and really incapable of, or not incapable, but difficult to change. And the other thing is that we get so much less word time with Gawain than we do with Elaine. And so I think that Gawain gets the short end of the stick right from the beginning of the book, because in Andor, he has no capability of ascending to the throne. It is not even possible for him to do that. And he's also got this big brother who is better at everything than he is. So he is the quintessential middle child between someone who's really pretty and really good at stuff and a girl who's going to inherit everything. And so his purpose is so tied to Elaine that once he loses that, once she runs away from him, because again, she has her own purpose that she's following, but she doesn't really consider Gawain that much. He just completely loses all rudder. He is in the middle of a storm where he has lost his mother, he has lost his sister, he has lost his crown. I mean, he never actually really had one, but like, again, he has lost his position in Andor. He has lost, backing of the Aes Sedai. He now realizes that he's a puppet. He's lost his warder master. He has lost just about everything in the span of a very small number of months. This is the one thing that really makes Elaine and Gawain super different characters, though, is that while they were brought up or the same, they deal with new information very differently. Because Gawain almost always goes, no, fuck you, what I know is right. Elaine almost always says, let me find out more about that and make an informed decision longer down the road than right now. And I think a lot of that, again, comes from the training that she has to be queen someday. Of snap decisions are a terrible idea, versus the training that Gawain has, which is on the battlefield, if you are incapable of making a snap decision, you're dead. And so I think that Gawain is just pushed into this situation where every decision he makes it in the spur of the moment and has a really hard time changing it, whereas Elaine gets the benefit of really being able to mull things over. And while she is still stubborn and she makes dumb decisions and she makes ill-informed decisions, she usually goes back and fixes it or apologizes for it later or something along those lines, whereas we don't really see that from Gawain.
Okay. Drew.
I disagree with Josh. This is not an unpopular opinion.
Ooh. Task failed successfully.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah. No,
I respect you too.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, that's my underhanded way of agreeing with you, obviously, but I guess to me, Elaine's a good support character. Like, I enjoyed Elaine as a support. I enjoyed Elaine's role in Egwene's life, But I rarely enjoyed Elaine's point of view.
Big NPC energy.
Exactly, yeah. Gawain was a good extra for the first few scenes. And I agree with everything you guys have said about Gawain as a human. Like, Gawain behaved exactly like you're saying, just like a real teenage boy going through these terrible circumstances, going from a very privileged upbringing, thrust through very confusing circumstances, exactly how he would behave. Makes total sense. The problem is, I don't read narratives I'm not engaged by the average human experience. I'm engaged by the exceptional human experience who embodies some kind of archetype that either, in the dramatic sense, comedically prevails or tragically fails. Either they show me a way through life, or they show me a tragic, awful place not to go in life. Gawain doesn't do either of those. He just reminds me of how dumb I was when I was 16. And it's like, bro, I feel you. I was you. I don't want to be you, and I don't want any help being reminded of being you. So you're right. He is a psychologically appropriate human, but narratively, I didn't get anything from Gawain. I was kind of annoyed by a lot of Gawain's screen time. Not because he was unrealistic, but because he wasn't compelling. And Elaine, I enjoyed Elaine's arc up, I don't know, the first half of the series, and then I feel like the rest of her development was political, not personal. And that wasn't as engaging to me. So that's my take, Josh.
All right. And certainly not least, but last on this topic, Ryan.
All right, thanks. So I just want to be clear. I read this book a while ago, and we're on a reread, and we're in book 1, and we're in chapter 10. So I'm going a lot on memory, but I do have some impressions. I think that when I first read Elaine, I think I was annoyed the entire time. But I feel like when I'm going to read through this again, I want to try and look at her through the lens of the Tavern pull more than the love story. She seems so obsessed with Rand and like her because we get so much of her perspective. Maybe it'll feel less just like simple and kind of like a lovelorn if I kind of give it that perspective. So and I remember just really thinking Gawain was one of the most boring characters I've ever like. I hope he's
Well
like
said.
it's fine. I like that you need to offset. Like every character can't be epic. Every character doesn't have to have a completed arc. Every character doesn't
Fair.
have to just somehow like embody all the things we admire. And I do like that there are like flawed characters throughout the series, but just not that guy.
Fair. Well, it looks like Josh's internet decided that he didn't need to hear the last bit of our discussion on his topic, though.
Oh, bummer.
I imagine that as soon as it allows him to, he will be back. So if you're watching this and you see a weird camera flick that flickers on and off or something like that, please be understanding. We're trying to coordinate 8 people. So, but with that,
That's this many people.
yeah, that's that many.
That's very impressive,
Hey.
Daniel.
I think it sounds like we can all agree that for the most part, for the most part, I'm going to say we don't really care for Gawain. And it seems like there was if nothing else, an understanding as to why the characters would at least seem incredibly similar. If we didn't agree that they were the same, I don't think it's something that can easily be that we should really vote on. Who agrees and who disagrees.
I don't necessarily think that's
kind of a
binary.
mix.
That's definitely more of a spectrum.
That wraps up this section of the discussion. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to help me create more Wheel of Time content, I have a Patreon and I would love it if you would join. Finally, check out my other videos, including the other parts of this discussion. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time.